Hola y bienvenidos al podcast Queso de la Muñeca. Yo soy el presentador Brodinky y conmigo es mi primo, mi hermano, señor Schmidt. Schmidt, ¿cómo estamos esta noche?
Muy bien, mi amigo, muy bien. Gracias, gracias.
For those out there who don't know, we are indeed recording on Cinco de Mayo. I have a belly full of Mexican food and a glass full of tequila, so I'm feeling wonderful. On the real, Schmidt, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, man, just another day. Happy to be alive here recording another episode of our fine podcast. Couldn't be more excited.
Likewise. Before we hop into our topic, a couple things to address. Real quick, a big thank you to everybody again for contributing, whether it just be shares, likes, whatever, or just donations to the foundation, Real Men Wear Pink. We are closing in on $2,000 donated.
Fantastic.
And after Sunday, I will be sending that moon swatch out to someone. Could be you. So
it could be you. It's definitely not me, but it could be you.
The hypothetical you, not you, Schmidt.
Yeah, I know. I wish.
So get those last minute donations in. And again, thank you to everybody who has taken part. I may have sent a little feeler out to Nomos about one of those deep pinks. But
okay.
Haven't gotten a response yet. Probably getting the ghost treatment, but I felt like that might be this year's go-to. That might be the real hotness.
It's not too bad of a price point either. That would be a nice
That's
piece
what I'm
to give
saying.
away.
Nomos, don't cheap out, bros. All right, get back to me. Don't be nerds.
It's okay. Look, man, it's all for a good cause, and if not, then we'll find some other interested party that'll want to work with us to do a nice donation for Real Men Wear Pink.
Yes. So just a quick thanks again there. In other news, I did have a new arrival this week, and I'm only bringing it up because we had discussed this one previously on air. It is the King Seiko SPB 287. It is the Bordeaux dial.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It really is. And I get it. A lot of people complain about the price. First of all, I think originally people said it was $1,900. It's $1,700 MSRP. Obviously, I don't know anybody who's paying full MSRP for Seikos these days. And if you're smart and you don't buy it locally, you could probably get out of sales tax too, like I did.
Yep. Makes sense. Hey, man, if you're going to buy smart.
That's right. Big shouts to my friends, the Colorado Watch Girls, aka Right Time Watches out in Colorado. They always do me solid. And obviously when this one came in, I had alerted them, said, hey, when the King Seikos come in, if you get a red one, send me some pictures. I saw the DM. I knew exactly what it was. And I said,
trouble.
I said, how good is
trouble.
It? It's so good.
Yeah. Like she was going to lie to you and tell you it was bad.
I trust her. We're good friends.
I know, for sure.
Monica.
For sure.
So I said, how good is it? She says, it's so good. I said, She says, I got one. I said, pack it up.
Yep. Here's my card. Express ship it.
They got it on file by now, so that's
yeah, you've already bought enough things from them, huh?
Yeah. So but yeah, overall, obviously the dial is money. People complain about the font. I'm just happy it only has 3 lines of text, one of them being Seiko. Okay. With the way watches are nowadays, I'm just happy with 3 lines of text.
Tutor. Looking at you. Always.
But I really think they've tried to bridge that gap between Seiko, Presage, and Grand Seiko with this one. There are just little cues. I mean, they have Zaratsu polishing on this. The hands and indices have it, and it's blatantly obvious. If you've owned anything with Zaratsu, you could tell by the way it glistens. It's just a magical polishing, and this has it. The 12 o'clock is a textured, I don't know how to describe it, but it's really interesting. I'll post a picture of it in our show post, but if I can get a real good one, I'll try to use my good camera, but it's textured. It looks really, really good. And then probably my favorite part about the watch is the bracelet. It's a 7 linker, super comfortable. I mean, there's a lot of links in it, which obviously the more links, the better it can mold to your wrist.
Yeah.
I'm usually not a huge fan of butterfly clasps. This one happens to just fit beautifully. I don't know if it's just the way it hits my wrist or what, but
Yeah.
The wear is very comfortable. They put alternating finishing between the links where they mesh together, which is really nice. It catches a lot of light when you're just casually moving about. Can't complain about that at all. It really just like glistens.
Yeah. So there's obviously a lot more finishing and detail work than even probably you saw online, right? I mean, when you're holding it in person.
I would say so. I would definitely say so. There's it's just a higher standard than the usual Seiko watches, and trust me, I think a lot of people know I handle a lot of them. I own a lot of them, so
Yeah.
you know, it used to be sort of the measuring stick was the Sarb line because they were such a bargain buy.
Right. Right.
You can get them used in like that $300 to $400 range, which is such a steal. And now you can't anymore. But that was kind of considered the measuring stick for an affordable watch that you could dress up. Maybe not necessarily a dress watch, but a watch that you could dress enough to wear to a dress occasion. And I think this one really just raises the bar. And I'm not just saying that because I bought it. I mean, it's a beautiful little 37 millimeter package, 12 mils thick. It's got a lot of angles to it, a lot like the Grand Seiko that I own, which I also like a lot.
I mean, just seeing it on some of your social media posts in the last few days and just you holding it up for me to take a look at. I mean, it looks fantastic. And I can definitely see, you know, kind of, it looks to me like there's a sun brushing or sun ray finishing on the dial. There's, you know, there's a lot of light play there. You certainly get the bounce from the Zaratsu on the hands and the markers, like you mentioned. And you said it's only hands and markers on this model, right? As far as you can tell. Yeah. Okay. But even still, man, the bracelet finishing just looks amazing. It gives me, when you kind of rotate it back and forth, it gives me a little bit of that kind of the same type of sintering or that same type of light play as you get with something like a Royal Oak bracelet. It just kind of sparkles and dances.
Yeah.
And it looks really, really good.
I think that's kind of the gold standard of bracelet light play, if you will. And
yeah, absolutely.
That's where my mind always goes. Whenever I see a good bracelet that you get that kind of bling effect to it, I always go to, it's kind of like that Royal Oak bracelet.
Yeah. I will say this. I don't have a lot of love for the Royal Oak because for me, the bracelet was not very comfortable. But when you look at it and you see how it sparkles in the light, yeah, it makes you feel like $2 million. Like it just has that way about it. But yeah, I mean, obviously not the same low price points at all, but that bracelet looks fantastic.
Yeah, and you get that traditional King Seiko case back, and everybody complained about movement, it's not that accurate, whatever. So this was clearly set before they sent it, because when it arrived, it was in the right minute. That, or I'm just the luckiest person on earth.
Yeah.
Right.
But and again, when it comes to accuracy, and I'll touch on this a little bit later too. When it comes to accuracy as well, it's like I don't wear the same watch every day.
True.
It doesn't matter. I'm rotating. So I'll never notice if my watch was off 10 seconds unless I'm literally staring at it every single day. And the watches that I wear continuously and regularly, they're high quality movements, master chronometer certified or something that's really, really nice. And they're going to run well within tolerance. But I mean, what was the, you said 1700 was MSRP on this one?
Yes.
I mean, most watches in general in that price range are not going to be chronometer spec.
No.
I mean, at all. It just, it's crazy. Get over yourself, guys. Come on.
Although I will say, I don't know if you caught the newer Zodiacs. I know we've been mentioning them a lot, but they put out that new line with it's a chronometer. It's a Seawolf chronometer, and they had that.
It's like the blue diver one.
That blue bezel is A1. I literally DM'd them and I was like, nice job.
I mean, I love it. I love the colors because they riffed some of the other more popular colors that they did.
Right.
Just for me personally, nothing against the brand. I just don't like the fact that they did the Zodiac logo on the counterweight for the second hand.
Yeah, you're not about that.
It's just to me, it's just one thing that if you removed it, for me personally only, you would immensely improve the design. Like it's just the way it is. It's just I've always thought that for any brand when they do that, it's just kind of silly. I mean, even one of my most favorite brands in the world, Omega, they used to do that with 007 and like Olympic rings and like just silly things. It to me immediately tones down the seriousness of the watch. And I think we've talked about this on a previous episode. We talked about
we talked about Lorenzo.
We
with
t-
the double oh
yeah,
007. And
yeah,
then
we talked about with
I think
Lorenzo.
you talked about it griping about design cues in a different one as well.
Yeah, and there was what was the other brand that we touched on that did this very well?
Open
Or
Oscar,
basically
right?
Oak Oscar.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, Oak Oscar. Like how they did it, incorporate into the design, that's fine for me because it was a cool design element that meshed with the dial, right? Like that made sense. So cool. That was fine for me. But other brands that do it, it's like the logo. It just I don't know. It's a little Invicta esque. It's like I
I
don't know. It
heard
just
you
tones.
love when Seiko does it and they loom the counterweight.
Oh God, don't the most useless. Don't. We're getting so far off topic here because you're gonna send me on a tirade. I'm already getting triggered. But yeah, man, it's Seiko, if you're listening, please God, can you just loom the end of your second hand and not the back end of it? Nobody cares about the back end. I want to know what the front end is doing.
Yeah.
What
They
is
started
that?
doing that finally, thank goodness.
Please go back to it. Like, I don't know, like when we decided to change this. Your old 6309s, your old 7002s, like please go back to that second hand. Just move the loom pip forward and everyone will be happy. It looks like a normal watch again. I don't know if this is like one of those points where it's like we're just going to change the design for design's sake to be different.
Could be.
It just some things don't need to change. Just go back. Be better.
And I guess that will bring us into our topic. If anybody who listens to us also happens to listen to some of the bros that we are friendly with, in the past couple weeks, they've both dropped, and by they I mean I believe it was Spirit of Time started this, and then they kind of just passed the ball to Whiskey and Watches, who passed it over to us. It's the old 3 watches for 10 grand challenge, but it came up because I'm in a group chat with a bunch of them, and we were sort of kicking it around, and we're like, you know what, this topic gets a lot more juicy nowadays because of scarcity, because of gray market, because of the lack of watches that you used to be able to get a discount on that you now have to pay full sticker for.
Full sticker, baby.
Right? So it gets a little more interesting. A few guidelines before we jump in. So 3 watches, 10 grand.
Yep.
You're starting fresh. You have no collection to fall back on. So you can't say I've got this base covered already. This is you going into it fresh, clean slate, right?
Love it.
So like I said, scarcity and gray market conditions apply as they currently are.
As they should.
Yeah.
They should.
We are not rolling with sales tax, so you get a little leeway there.
Yeah.
Don't put a tack on anything for shipping or any extra bells and whistles in that regard.
Yeah, we're just going straight MSRP, straight retail costs, making it done and easy for everybody.
Right.
Because keep in mind, too, we have listeners in all different parts of the world and different areas, and sales taxes are going to be different for your location, states, all that stuff. So we're just going straight retail.
So I guess any other approach than that is pretty much fair game. If you're going to go used is in play. So pre-owned is in play, but you have to, I guess, go with sort of the consensus value.
Yeah, I mean, market condition value, right?
Yeah. Like if you can find it in the range on Chrono or on Recon or eBay, that's what you're going with. You can't be like, well, I bet some sucker would sell this to me for, we're just going across the board.
I like that.
All right. So I think they did it 2 different ways on both shows. I might be wrong. I think one, they went all 3 each. Like you go, I go. One, they alternated. I think we should alternate. I think it gives a little more room to discuss in between. So I guess we'll do that.
That's perfectly fine for me, my friend.
Do you want to lead it off? Or you want me to take this one?
Yeah. I mean, did you want to start with, do you have a price range in mind, or did you want to just kind of start with, top end, low end? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. Mine, I kind of divvied it up evenly. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, mine, I tried to do, I try to do personally a high end, a middle range, and a lower end range. It's kind of the way I figured it out, just based on money and things like that. But I'll just start off with let's do my highest pick.
Okay.
You guys know I'm an Omega fan, so I always will have to have something in the collection. But I decided purposefully to not buy something that I already technically own. even though I own an older version of it. But it's the new Seamaster 300, not to be confused with the 300-meter diver, which is the Bond version. This is the new one that they just recently launched, I think, at the end of last year, which is the new 41 millimeter case with the Lollipop second hand. It's their vintage 1957 diver.
Is this
I love
the
this.
sandwich style?
It is a sandwich style. Yeah.
Correct.
So this has a true sandwich style. There's two colorways in stainless steel. There's a black dial, and there's the one that I picked on leather strap to help with the price. And that's the blue dial version. I love this watch. I think it's fantastic. I think the size proportions are amazing. I own currently, outside of this conversation, I own the previous generation with the black dial, the Master Coaxial version, which is still a fantastic watch. But this new one, if you haven't seen it in person, it is so much more refined. It is so much nicer of a timepiece. And I love the blue colorways that they chose here with the faux patina. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of great videos out there that have done and shot this in 4K and stuff like that. You guys know the usual suspects who are shooting those videos, so you can go look them up on YouTube. But the watch is amazing. It is kind of hard to find. I will say this: every time I go into a boutique or I go into a place that has or carries Omega, they usually have one. And if it's, one of those things where I wait on it or think about it, it's usually gone. So they are, from what I can tell, desirable. They are somewhat hard to get, but that's a good thing for the value and retention of that watch. Overall, I think it's a fantastic option, and it's going to be great on everything. It is 21 millimeter lugs, but Omega makes plenty of straps and NATOs and things like that you could throw on it, which would be fantastic. And having on the older version, I'm very partial to this one, especially in blue, and I think it would be a fantastic option. I think in a true 3-watch collection, you really need kind of a balance of utility, complication, application, things like that. And so for me, I've always wanted to have a diver, and I always will have a diver. But I specifically chose this one out of all the divers I could have chose because to me, it still has a dressy element. So if I do need to mix it up and I do need a watch to be more of a transitional piece, this one makes more sense. So that's it. That's what I got.
I did want to point that out, that I think that is a little more diverse. No shade on my boy Pierce Brosnan, but a little more diverse, that, a little more, what am I trying to say? Versatile, I should say. It's a little more versatile than the straight up 300-meter diver. That tends to be a little more colorful, a little more loud.
Exactly.
That one's a little more subdued. You get like I said, the sandwich style is. I personally love that. I've owned a Panerai. I love sandwich styles in general. I would love to see the loom on that in person. I obviously haven't seen one in person yet. I've seen yours, which is a previous generation, and I was surprised at how well that wears because it's not necessarily a smaller watch, and divers tend to run bigger. But I remember, I think you had it on a Tropic when I saw you.
I think it was NATO.
Might have been a NATO, but either way, I remember saying I'm very surprised how well this wears. It was very balanced, and I love the Lollipop second. I'm a sucker for Lollipop second hands, so I think that's kind of a can't miss. And I think in general, I think it's hard to stay away from Omega in this price range because they're kind of the default, right? You're not
now.
You're not getting anything from the Crown in this price range. So unless you're going to get cute and get creative or have something that's a little more off reservation, you're probably, and I want to say, I'm not 100% on this. I want to say every single one of us may have picked something from Omega. Definitely.
I know
kicked
the
it back
boys
and forth, but I don't know
the boys at Spirit of Time did. I know Buzz, he had a Moonwatch in there, and I honestly had an alternate list that had a Moonwatch in there because I could have very easily have chosen that. We're talking similar price points here. I mean, I think this version, the one that I picked on the strap, is $6,150 US. Went a little bit lighter in cost, especially chose a strap model, but you could buy a Tropic, you could buy a NATO and swap it out, or eventually down the road you buy the bracelet and it's good to go.
Hey, 21 millimeters. I could share the straps with my Grand Seiko.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, and honestly, now today, I've always heard, oh, it's 19, oh, it's 17, it's 21. Those sizes are becoming so ubiquitous now.
Yeah, less of an issue.
There's strap makers everywhere that are making those straps, and there's so many custom dudes now that'll do it. It's not so much an issue as it used to be. So don't let that turn you off if you hear you got a 19 millimeter lug width or you got a 21 millimeter lug width, because those are pretty common now. Almost everyone makes them.
And the
So
aftermarket bracelet game is wild now.
yeah,
Between like Forstner, Uncle Seiko, Strap
there's
Code,
there's so
Watch
many
Gecko.
options,
Yeah,
way more options than there was even 2 years ago. It's crazy. So really, really solid options. I'm just still waiting for the day, and I know that I'm going to say this begrudgingly. I'm still waiting for the day when the boys at Tropic will make a dedicated 19 and a dedicated 21. I've asked, I've
agreed.
pleaded. They're like, yeah, it'll squeeze and it fits. I know it will. I've done it. It just, I want it to be perfect.
Get the Chubb rub.
Yeah, I want it to be perfect. Give it to me perfectly, and I will buy all of them. I will go out and buy them. I want a specific 21. So
For
there you
those
go.
who don't know, Chubb rub is when your legs rub together and it's uncomfortable. That's it carries
Yeah,
over though if
yeah,
you're squeezing
yeah,
a tropic
yeah. A
strap. This
little
is too
bit.
big.
It's a little bit of chafing, you know. And no matter what, the rubber will flex, and that's fine. But it's always got a little bit of kind of
Yep.
pillow top on the sides.
Yep.
Always. It just doesn't matter how it's going to be. It's not designed for it. So there you go. But yeah, Seamaster 300 blue dial with the acrylic anodized bezel and the lollipop secondhand.
Nice. I'm assuming everybody had this kind of same situation. I had a tough time not coming up with the watches, just picking my approach here, right?
Yeah.
Because I ended up going kind of equal value across the board, but I had some ideas. I could have just took something like a Zenith Chronomaster Sport and just called it a day. That's like 10 grand, and just said I'm done, right?
One and done, baby.
Yeah, and then there's certain just blatant value picks that are out there consistently, right? Your Black Bay 58, your Diver 300 meter. Again, at 5100 on strap, it would almost pain me not to put it in. I know Greg had one, so I wanted to maybe not overlap too much with everybody, so I didn't want to putting one in, but I had a hard time not picking one, and I would have picked the green just to for the
I had that one on my
factor.
list too as an alternative, and I was like, "No, bro's gonna pick this. It's too on the nose."
It is. I wanted a Grand Seiko. Obviously, everybody knows how much I really enjoy that brand, but they are really creeping up in price. Right, the Omiwatari I adore. I think it's 8,300. The Shunbone I own is amazing, 6,200. Right, the newer GMTs with the green or the blue dial, I think those fall around 6. The newer ones that with the Evolution 9 case, I think fall around 8.
Yeah,
It's too hard for me to round out a collection.
Grand Seiko is no longer a value prop. It is what it is.
It's I think people told them, "Hey, you're making some really nice stuff," and now they believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I did. I think I included what I consider maybe still one of the best value props in Grand Seiko, and that's the SBGN 003. It's a very popular watch. It's not a sleeper by any means, but I think everybody knows this one is a value prop.
Oh
and
yeah,
you can get it used for under $3,000. I think MSRP is 3,200.
Yes, that's right.
This is the quintessential grab and go, gotta quartz watch. Go anywhere, do anything.
Yeah,
39 millimeters.
This is a good pick.
People say it looks like an Explorer 2. It has a fixed 24-hour bezel on it. Okay. But it's got your
My God,
9F.
it's a GMT with a fixed bezel. Wow, it
It's-
must be an
yeah.
Explorer 2 homage.
9F movement. Again, it's
Yeah.
quartz, but it's plus or minus like 10 seconds a year.
Yeah.
Right.
this
It's one
is
of the
sweet.
better quartz movements you could buy ever. 12 mil thick. Like I said, it's a GMT, so you get a little complication involved. I don't think there's anything not to like about this watch. Obviously, it just from the look of it, you can throw it on anything. It'll look good on
Yeah.
everything from a NATO to a Tropic to obviously the bracelet is.
Yeah, the bracelet's fantastic.
Yeah. So I think that's a can't miss watch. I think it's one a lot of people would put in if they are considering sort of that quote unquote exploration watch. So if you're not going, let's say like Alpinist, you certainly can't go Explorer anymore. And the Tudor Ranger sucks. So you don't have a lot of options out there. It's okay. You don't have to mute yourself. You can laugh on mic. It's fine.
No, I am not muted. I'm just. It's
I
like,
would rather
gonna,
have. I would
that was
100%
just.
rather have the North flag than the
Oh yeah. Oh,
Ranger.
for sure, for sure, for sure. There's no
But
question
I
about
would
that.
still, Tutor, for the love of God, a revamp on both of them would be tremendous.
Bro, just remember, it's because the crown hates you.
I
They'll
know
never give you what you want. They'll
they just
never
want
give
to
you
give
what you
me.
want.
Well, they would have to rename it Black Bay. So
Oh, jeez. Black Bay this, Black Bay that, Black Bay Chrono. You mean the Baytona? I mean, it's all the same.
it's bad
It's
that
all
we
the
have to
same.
come up with alternate nicknames for them to get them away from the term Black Bay. But whatever.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Anyways, this is my pick. I think it's slam dunk. I think it's an archetype of watch that people sort of seek after, given the provenance of the explorers and the concept of the explorer watch. I think a lot of crossover goes in between watch collecting and sort of the active, whether it be hiking or people who just like to be out in nature. So I think it has that application, even though there's no like compass bezel or anything. But you do get
But
24-hour time and everything.
but even still, I mean, this watch is still, obviously it's a GMT, but it's still to me dressy enough that you can wear
Yes,
with a suit, with a sports shirt, whatever you're gonna do. I mean, quite literally, this could be your only watch.
that's a
It's
great
just
one watch collection.
it's literally just a nice watch. It's a nice size. It is well made. That's not even in dispute. It's just a nice looking watch. My own personal beef with it, I just wish the hands were a little bit whiter, a little bit more kind of sporty than kind of more on the dressy side. But that's a very small nitpicky gripe. That's nothing.
Don't get me wrong.
It looks great.
I don't love their GMT hands in general.
Yeah.
But hey, again, am I going to gripe over it? No, I'm going to pick that watch up and it's going to be spot on the money every single time.
not even spot on the money, like exactly where you left it
Yes.
from like 3 months ago.
So
It's amazing. That's a really solid pick. I do like that watch a lot.
all right, what do you got for me?
So I think we're kind of in the same vein because the way I've always approached this rewatch collection, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to flesh it out a little bit more here, is for me, it's always important to have 3 types of watches in my 3 watch collection. I need something that's an ultra utility watch or sport watch, which I've already checked that off with my
Check.
diver. I need something that has a complication, whether it's a chrono, whether it's a GMT, world timer, whatever. I want something with a complication. And then lastly, for me, I think a real collection needs to have a dedicated dress watch. That's it. So with that kind of vein in mind, I'm going to go with the complication. And this is, I'm going to talk about the brand new timepiece that was just debuted like this week. Everyone's talking about it. And this is a new Hamilton Khaki Aviation Pioneer Chrono. A watch I immediately fell in love with. I saw this announced. I saw Teddy sitting down with the CEO of Hamilton, kind of going through this watch. It's fantastic. 40 mil case, stainless steel. I believe the retail price in the US is $2,045 before taxes, of course. But this is a very faithful reissue to a military chrono that Hamilton supplied to the British military, the RAF, during the 1960s and 1970s. It's a great watch. I mean, it looks fantastic. It's got the right amount of superluminova that's kind of on that vintage side. It's got a brushed, or not brushed, but a kind of like a sandblasted or bead blasted dial. Got a little bit of texture to it. Asymmetrical case, mostly matte finish with the exception of the pushers and the crown, which are in high polish. And it's a manual wind movement with an 80-hour power reserve and a silicon balance spring.
Wow.
So this thing is packing heat. And for me, it's another strap monster watch. I mean, you could put this on another aftermarket bracelet. You could do a leather strap. You could do a NATO. It's going to certainly look amazing on NATO. This watch is a really cool piece and one I actually think I'm going to try to add to my collection because I really do like it quite a bit. It's very sparse, very utilitarian. You only get Hamilton at the 12 o'clock and nothing else for text. It's a 30-minute chrono and it's just, bi-compact style, 2 sub dials. It's just clean. It's very, very, very clean. So I think this is a home run from Hamilton. I'm really excited to see one of these in stores. So If anybody's got any connections with any Hamilton dealers out there, please send us a DM. Let me know if maybe in my travels around the world I can stop in and say that you referred me to take a look at this Hamilton. So
I think my homie's in Colorado, Carrie Hamilton.
okay,
So that could be
maybe.
trouble.
Yeah,
And
it
again,
could be very
the
trouble.
other good news about Hamilton is you are probably not having to pay full retail for it. Probably.
Very true.
Unless it
Very true.
is white hot, you're probably not having to pay
Yeah,
full
but
retail.
even still, at some point they kind of cool off a little
Yeah,
bit.
of course.
And I mean, because even like the Intramatic Chronos when they came out last year, everyone was just like, "Oh my god, everyone has to
Sick.
buy these watches." Beautiful watch, amazing, sick. You can find them now.
Yeah.
At first, they were like unicorns; you couldn't touch them. But now, as the months go on, new novelties come out. This is part of the new novelties for this year. Those will become a little bit less desirable as new stuff kind of replaces it. But yeah, man, this is a sick watch.
Yeah, it's definitely got that vintage inspired look to it, and I think they nailed it. I think sometimes you can tell when somebody's trying too hard, and I don't think this has that at all. One interesting thing I thought about it was 40 mil case, 22 millimeter lugs, if I'm not mistaken.
It could be. Let me double check since I'm on the
Not that that's a
website.
bad thing, but it's interesting. I mean, most of the time
Yeah, it
you
is
hear that
22.
sort of
22.
40-20 proportion, but I think that might mean you could, if you're, I know if you're wearing it on something like a NATO, it's probably gonna sit real well on your wrist because that thing ain't going nowhere.
No. Because sometimes what you'll find with like NATO straps in certain like smaller sizes is it almost like kind of shifts too
Yeah,
much.
that's what I'm talking about.
Like the case is not is too heavy to be
Right,
supported by
the
the
bulk.
NATO.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about the same thing here.
Yes.
I certainly think that's very true, and certainly it could be a consideration with this watch. But I mean, looking at some of the product photos and the renderings that I'm seeing on the website, I mean, even with 22, and right now the strap that's on it is a non-tapered strap.
Yep.
So it's literally straight 22 all the way down. It looks like, or if it has a taper, it's a very slight one. But it still rocks, man. It looks amazing. You could put this on a taper strap for a more vintage look, and it's even gonna be better. I think it's just cool.
And
Very,
there's
very cool. Hamilton.
something about Hamilton's. They do the right amount of plain Jane mixed with the right amount of quirky always. Like they always
Yeah.
nailed that where it's classy looking, but like I could toss it on a NATO, and that's why I think their watches kill on so many straps. Like I remember I've had, you know, countless Hamiltons, but always NATO straps, leather straps, hell, leather NATO, anything. Barton rubbers, they look good on everything,
Yeah.
and I think that's why.
Yeah, my buddy has a Hamilton khaki mechanical and a Barton rubber right now, and I mean this is kind of his first real Hamilton that's manual one, and he's in love with his watch, and I'm like, yeah, put on this Barton rubber and let it go, man. And it's you're right, it's a strap monster, but I think it's also speaking to just military culture
Yes.
and design. It's just so utilitarian, and that word gets used quite often.
Yeah, it's
But
a buzzword.
when you when you are really looking at a military inspired watch, I mean, these are the reasons why watches today have loom. They're shock protected. They're anti magnetic. Like they have water resistance. All of this is descendant from military application. So the wristwatches that we wear today would not necessarily be as technologically advanced or as bulletproof as they really are without some type of wristwatch being developed in the past that would have allowed that to come to fruition. So military spec and just ease of use, utility, those were all very important things at that time for legibility and the such. So it begs no question why it would be something that could be worn with literally everything.
Yeah, I agree 100%. My second pick is, I don't know if this is exact same or similar. I think it was Buzzy picked the Speedy triple calendar. I prefer the Mark 40. That's the 3520.53 if anybody's counting. It's the colorful triple calendar. So it kind of looks like the Hodinkee limited edition, but it's oriented vertically instead of horizontally. They come in around 3,700 used, so not horrible. Obviously, you can't get them new anymore. 39 mils auto chrono. day and month at 12, pointer date, 24-hour time, day and night indicator, sapphire crystals. So unfortunately, not a Hezi boy, but a great little package and a lot of fun. You get the little plain pointer on there, tons of different colors. You get the Arabic numerals. So a lot of fun different cues in there. You get kind of a gray dial, which is nice. It's not so flat. You get a little vibrance. There's just a lot going on, and it's always a watch that I was drawn to ever since I started collecting. But I was kind of like, if I buy this, people are gonna think this is like a clown watch. But now I don't
clown
care.
watches are cool now.
But now I don't care. So.
Yeah. And you said this is what reference again, bro?
I want to say 3520.53.
Okay, so this is the Climber. This is the Ben Climber Speedmaster, right?
Is it? I didn't know he was about this.
3220.50, the Mark 40, right?
53, it says.
Yeah, 3520.53.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a Mark 40.
Yes.
Speedmaster.
Yes, it is.
Okay. This is literally the watch that got Ben Climber to start Hodinkee.
It's the Dinky connection.
That's it. I mean, that's why when they had their 10-year anniversary, they partnered with Omega to make that homage piece to this watch.
I always
because
wondered.
It was literally why Hodinkee was started. So for all you Rolex fanboys out there, your favorite watch blog in the world was created because of an Omega. Yeah, it was Ben Climber's grandfather's watch that he gave to him, and that was his first like luxury Swiss watch. Was this watch?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know that story. But this watch it's so cool. I mean, 39 mil. It's I love the day night indicator with like the half moons. Oh man,
yeah, it's just subtle. Like it's those things you don't pick up by glazing over it, but there's a lot going on there, and it's a lot of fun.
And it gives me like 70s like Flight Master vibes. You know, like it's not quite that exact same case or anything like that, but it's just such a cool dial. And they patinaed so well with the hands and everything. They just look amazing.
Yeah, and like you said, it gives you a complication in your collection. I kind of thought the same thing. I like to cover a lot of bases. I mean, it's easy. I could easily piece together just a diver collection or just a dress watch collection or something. But obviously, you get three. You might as well spread them out, right? Variety's the spice of life. So.
Absolutely. Dang.
Yeah,
this is a good one, man.
Yeah, so I can't remember if somebody picked this exact one or they just picked the plain black triple calendar, but
I think it was just a standard triple calendar from the boys at I think Spirit of Time.
But yeah, but I've always loved this watch, and every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, I should probably get one of those. But sooner they'll be impossible to get, and then I'll be
I was
for not
just
picking
about
one
to
up.
say that.
I know how this is gonna go already.
I was about to say that, and we're already putting it out into the universe. So now the people who didn't know about this watch are going to start knowing about it.
Yep.
But yeah, man, this is. I remember back in the day when you could pick up this watch for like $2,500.
Yeah.
Like it was like nothing. It was just penance to own one of these watches, and now they're steadily climbing up. I mean, I think you said what 3,800.
That's what I was seeing. 37, 38.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty significant increase in just a few years for something that was, out of production in like 97.
Yes.
So,
but hey,
very cool watch.
Everybody's calling market crash. So
apparently
I'm ready.
Save them Gitas, bro. We might be getting them bottom barrel prices on these sports models.
That's it.
All these Wall Street bros are going to have to offload that liquidity. And then
Daddy's getting a Royal Oak.
Daddy's getting a Royal Oak. Yeah, maybe we'll be able to buy a Royal Oak at retail.
All right, let's not count those chickens, but
give me a jumbo at 15 grand like the good old days.
Yeah, sadly I remember those days.
Oh, I know, dude. It's insane.
Okay, on to number 3 for you, my friend.
So this is a watch that I've always kind of flirted with. I've tried it on several times. I absolutely love the watch, and it was a watch that. It's just one of those situations where it's always like, yeah, it's always going to be there. It'll always be there.
Oh, I've told myself that so many times.
I know.
So wrong.
And the thing is I know I love this watch. I just have never picked it up because something else has come along. There's been another watch, specifically an Omega that I wanted to pick up. So I'd rather, divert funds to those purchases. But it's the OG Nomos Club 36. the original version with the white dial. One and Wound covered this on like one of their earliest like video reviews, like way back in the day. Must have been 15 years ago now, it feels like. But just an amazing watch. And specifically in the 36 millimeters, the only way I would ever buy it. Any of you who have been, flirting with Nomos, do not go based on their sizes. I've mentioned this before. Nomoses wear huge. They have all dial, very minimal bezel, and massive lugs.
Long lugs.
The lugs are so long. So if you feel like a 36 might be too small, 36 is going to wear like a 38, and a 38 is going to wear like a 40 or 42. That's just how they are. So just be aware of that. If you are looking at getting a Nomos, I've always told people to size down, just because they do have quite the presence on the wrist. That said, this one has always been a big something I've always been a big fan of. And I don't need an exhibition case back. I don't need an automatic movement. I don't need a date. And in fact, all the watches that I've picked don't have dates because it's irrelevant to me. I just want something that's going to be clean, classic, dressy. And again, another strap monster. It comes on that, kind of dark brown Horween leather.
Yes.
From our tannery in Chicago, which is fantastic. But you put this on a nice, navy blue strap or a dark black, it's going to be a home run timepiece to wear for any occasion. And I think this is going to be one of those watches I just have to just bite the bullet and buy, because I've been talking about it for probably 10 years. I just need to do it. But it's always been right there. And even today, I mean, I think, the prices steadily increased on this watch over the years. Because I think when I was first looking at it, it was around $1,100. Now it's $1,550 US. So still very obtainable. And with all my watch picks, I think I end up with, let's see here, about $255 left over. So you can go get you a nice custom made strap or some NATOs or something like that to mix and match. But the Nomos Club 36, the OG cream dial with the orange numerals and kind of like that darkened black outline on the hands and markers, just fantastic watch.
Is that Arabics or Cali?
So this was before they did the Cali dial. So
Okay.
it has the 12, 2, 4, 8, and 10.
Yep.
And those are numbers. And then the other markers will be actual just rectangular markers.
Okay.
So this is pre-Cali dial. So this is like literally the first ever Nomos Club, the OG reference, which it's still a great value proposition. I mean, at $1,500 is for a fantastic manual wind movement, relatively thin, small seconds. Like it just looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong with the Nomos. They're understated, they're classy, they're clean, super versatile. Like you said, you can wear them pretty much anywhere, dress them up, dress them down. And I think especially the club campus line, that's exactly what they're going for. In that, it's your one watch and you just take it wherever you might go, and we've sang their praises on the show before. I don't think we have to beat that horse anymore, but Nomos, give me a call. Trying to give away
we're trying to get a deep pink over here. Trying to donate it to Real Men Wear Pink.
Trying to get deep
breast cancer awareness.
Yep. So do the right thing.
Okay, Spike Lee.
My last line of the email was, "If not, no hard feelings."
I mean, I get it. It's a big ask, but
I don't want people to think I'm strong on them. Like I'm gonna go roast them if they're like, "Nah, kid."
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. If we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. If not, then we'll find another way. That's fine. Yeah.
For my last pick, so far I've had, I think 3,200, 3,700. So I'm teetering right in there again in almost that same range. I really wanted to try to fit a Doxa in there. I really did.
I mean, you could.
I know I could. I toyed back and forth with it, and I wound up going with another diver. But I really wanted to go Doxa there, just for the record. But I wound up going
before you tell us what it was. Which Doxa specifically did you want to do, and what color?
I mean, I think you'd have to go sub 300, and Professional is such an easy choice. If it wasn't
Yeah.
professional, I would probably go white pearl, to be honest. I really like those.
Really?
I do.
Dang. I gotta go visit the boys at Was at some point and go see a white pearl. I want to
Yeah, I
see
got to
one
see
in
one in
person.
person because white dials can be a little iffy, but from the renders, I honest to God really do love it.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
just the contrast of the white and black just looks really, really good. And
On my alternate list, I had a Doxa Sub 300 Aquamarine on there. I was like, yeah, that's the fire watch for sure.
I've always liked the aquamarine, but at this point, it's a little too close to that other color. And plus, now I have
I know, but you know what? I don't care. That color existed first, and
it
everyone
did,
else can go
it did
screw off because Doxa had that color before it was cool. All right.
long before, might I add.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I wound up going with the U50 from Zinn. I don't think I could get
Ooh.
it on the bracelet. I think I have to go rubber to keep it under 10. I think I come in like under $100 away. So,
Okay.
uh, but yeah, this is just a can't miss all around good diver. 41 millimeters, way down from 44 with the U1.
Yeah. Yeah.
11.2 thick, 500-meter diver. Right, not
Yeah.
that I will ever need that, but that's a flex.
Yeah, it is.
Tegimented submarine steel, extreme anti-magnetic properties, modified SW300 Solita, and it's just one of those things where if you're buying a Zinn, you're getting a lot of thought put into your watch, and
Over-engineered.
I was gonna say they're just going the extra mile all over the place. Like, dude, in their watches, they put inert gases like argon. You'll see a lot of the dials have argon, and what that does is that keeps out other gases and moisture. They put copper sulfate capsules in their watches to absorb any moisture that might make their way in, and it changes color when it's time to get rid of that, to show that moisture's made its way in. And just the
Stuff you don't think
tegimenting,
about.
yeah, it's all the things. It's just battle tested and it's ready to go. That's what I love about it. And they have this style that's very unapologetically Zinn, like the sort of rough shaping on the hands and the indices. It almost has like sort of that old like 32-bit Nintendo feel to it, where everything's kind of squarish. But that's what I like about it, right? It's kind of.
But we talked about this a little bit, kind of with Bell and Ross, and I think
Yes.
at one point Bell and Ross and Zinn were very close. They had that kind of working relationship before, but this is a very unmistakably Zinn style language.
Yeah.
Like, if you put this next to another watch and you remove all branding or all monikers of what the manufacturer is, I'm gonna pick this as a Zinn every single time
100%.
because there's nothing else that looks like it. I mean, it's a very odd watch, but in the best way.
It's one of those things. If you're not into it, you're never gonna like it. But it's something I've always liked and have not ever taken the plunge on yet. That may be in the cards shortly. But
a little foreshadowing. I like it.
But they're super cool. And from what I've heard across the board is that they wear extremely well. So
yeah, it's a solid pick. I had a buddy, I think they had a U1 back in the day, and I was very impressed with the overall build quality and how well it ran, and just everything about it was just very, very, very cool. So certainly a cool pick.
And obviously, Zinn, they jive with my color scheme, so
they do.
Every single one of the watches.
That Brodinky special.
That's it. Me, them, and the Chicago Bulls.
That's right. That's right. Surprised you haven't gone over to Omega and bought a Seamaster Necton.
Dude, I like that watch, believe it or not.
That watch is awesome.
A lot of people don't like it. They say Yachtmaster, but I like it.
No, that watch is way better than the Yachtmaster.
I like it a lot.
Sorry. The Necton is pretty awesome.
I thought you were going to say you're surprised I don't have a custom Brodinky Bulls jersey.
I am also surprised that you don't have that either.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions that you had on your list that you wanted to consider?
I kind of rattled off a bunch of them as I went. I mean, there's so many. And again, there's so many different approaches. Do I go one big one, two little ones? Do I go a semi-big, a medium, and a small?
That's what I did. Yeah, ultimately. And both of the lists that I had kind of reflected that. Because I did mention I had Doxa on there on my alternative list. I also had a Speedy Pro. So I had Speedy Pro, then Doxa Aquamarine, and then because I didn't really have too much left over, my last pick was the Hamilton Intramatic Auto 38 millimeter.
Yeah, love it.
With the kind of like coppery champagne dial. Fantastic timepiece. Houdinki covered it sometime last year, I believe, or the year before. And it was an amazing watch. I've always been in love with this Intramatic ever since it came out in the silver dial. Warren Wound also covered it like in gold, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. It's just a cool watch. And I love it because it doesn't even have a running second hand. It's literally just hour, minute, and date.
Yep.
It's the most madman watch ever. I love it. Exhibition case back. So that was certainly on my list. And the price point's insane. It's $845 retail. I mean, for a Swiss-made automatic movement from a very notable brand, that's pretty impressive, and it just looks awesome. So, as an alternative, if you guys weren't familiar with that and you're looking for a little bit of a dress piece to add to your collection, that's not going to overall break the bank, go check out that Hamilton Intramatic Auto in 38 millimeters. It is fantastic. Very cool piece.
Yeah, and I had a tough debate because I had the first two. I had sort of a sporty GMT. I had a chronograph, and then my third one, I was like, I either go diver or dress piece. It's just the prices on the vintage Omegas that I like, the Constellations, the Seamaster 600s have all been creeping up. And if I'm gonna go dress, I want something precious. So I would like some gold or rose, something. They're all just a little bit out of that range now, which sucks because I adore the old pie pans and different things.
Yeah, they're going up, man.
Yeah,
but that's just Omega in general. Every time I look at their stuff, I mean, like a first generation Planet Ocean as a completely different aside. Like a first generation Planet Ocean 2 years ago, you could have bought for under $3,000.
Yeah.
Now they're almost $5,000, which is insane. Just like, wow, things are going crazy. But I mean, I guess it's just desirability for the brand. Everyone wants to own it in every facet. So I mean, I guess it's good for them.
It's that, and then when your newer models come out and they come out at higher price tags, it's just sort of a value association, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. May not be able to get the brand new one. So what else is out there that I might be able to afford? Yeah.
Right. Especially when things become like the obvious fallback. That's when I find you start seeing that secondary jump.
Yeah, man. Yep. I like it. So I think we got some good picks here, man. I think universally these are some really cool options. And for those of you who are not familiar with them, please go take a look at them. There's a lot of great brands out there. And of course, if you're always looking for other stuff, DM us. We are happy to help you find some things, or at least point you in the right direction. I know Bro gets 1,000 emails or messages a day.
I've helped people's wives pick out watches for them. So,
well, hey, there you go. If you are a spouse and you need a good suggestion from your boys at Wrist Cheese Radio, please drop us a DM at Wrist Cheese Radio on Instagram. We also do have a Gmail, which nobody ever emails us at, but wristcheeseradio@gmail.com. So you can always send us and ask questions there as well. We'll have to do I think we did a user question thing at one point, right?
Yeah,
bro?
we'll do another one down the road.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one down the road for sure.
But yeah, I promise to be respectful to your wives. So
yes. She slid into my DMs first, okay? She slid into my DMs first.
And speaking of, to all those ladies that are moms out there, happy Mother's Day to all you, to my mom, my wife, to your mom, your wife, and everybody else we know. Happy Mother's Day, because this will be airing right before. And that means by the time you hear this, I will probably have already picked out a Moonswatch winner. So good luck to you all on that as well. Schmidt, you got anything else?
No, man. Yeah, again, same as always. Thank you guys for joining in. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out in Watch fam. My own mom. I love you, Mom. My wife, Britt, I love you so much. Thank you for everything. Happy Mother's Day. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Buenas noches.
Adios, mi amigos.